You know how sometimes you walk into a room, and before you even say a word, everyone just notices you? It's not that you're trying to grab attention. It's not that you're doing anything loud or flashy. It's just something about the way you carry yourself, or maybe the little details in how you look, that makes people stop and pay attention. That's exactly what happened when Kate Middleton stepped into the spotlight during Donald and Melania Trump's big state visit to the UK. And here's the really interesting part. People thought the focus was going to be all on Melania Trump. I mean, that makes sense, right? She was the First Lady of the United States at the time, and First Ladies are usually the ones who end up in all the fashion headlines at these kinds of events. Everyone expected her dress to be the big talking point. And she did look elegant. She had on this sleek Dior gown that was very classic, very First Lady style. But then Kate appeared. And in that one moment, she completely stole the show. Now, people couldn't stop talking about her. Not just the press, not just fashion critics, but everyday fans online too. It was one of those moments where the internet just lights up. So the question is, why? Why did Kate's look grab so much attention? Was it just because she's Kate Middleton? Was it the dress? The tiara? Or was there maybe a little hidden message in what she chose to wear? That's what we're going to talk about today. And by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why Kate's appearance that night turned into one of the most talked about fashion moments of the entire visit. So, let's rewind a little and set the stage. It was June 2019. Donald Trump and Melania Trump arrived in the UK for an official state visit. These visits are a big deal. They're full of traditions, grand banquets, red carpets, photo opportunities, speeches, handshakes, all of it. And the thing about these events is, every tiny detail gets analyzed. From what's said in the speeches, right down to what people are wearing. And that's where the spotlight comes in. Because what you wear at an event like this isn't just about looking nice. It's about sending a message. Subtle or not, it's all noticed. So here comes Melania. She shows up in a custom Dior gown. Clean lines, very polished, very elegant. Exactly what you'd expect from a First Lady look. People noticed it. They praised it. It was definitely fitting for the event. But then, Kate walked in. And the whole mood shifted. She was wearing this stunning white Alexander McQueen gown. And if you know Kate's style, then you know McQueen is one of her absolute go-to designers. She's worn them at weddings, state events, and some of her most photographed moments. It's kind of like when you have that one brand, or even that one store, you know you can count on. The kind where every time you put something on from them, it just feels right. That's Kate with McQueen. But here's the thing, this dress wasn't trying too hard. It wasn't loud. It wasn't one of those gowns where you think, okay, that's definitely made for headlines. It wasn't flashy or over the top. It wasn't screaming, look at me, look at me. Instead, it was the opposite. It was classic. It was elegant. It was timeless. You know how some outfits you look back on years later and think, oof, that was definitely a trend of the time? This wasn't that. This was one of those gowns that holds up no matter when you see it. Even if you saw the photos 10 years from now, it would still feel powerful, polished, and perfectly chosen for the occasion. That's the kind of gown Kate walked in with. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because while the gown itself was absolutely beautiful, it wasn't the only thing people noticed. On her head was the real showstopper, the lover's knot tiara. And let me tell you, if you're a royal fan, just hearing that name probably gives you goosebumps. Because the lover's knot tiara isn't just another sparkling accessory pulled out from the royal vaults. No. This is one of the most iconic pieces connected to Princess Diana. It was one of her favorites. She wore it often, and because of that, it became forever linked to her image, her memory, and her legacy. So, when Kate stepped out at this massive, high-profile banquet wearing it, people instantly felt the connection. They didn't just see diamonds and pearls arranged beautifully in an intricate design. They saw Diana. They saw history. They saw legacy. They saw a quiet but powerful tribute, right in the middle of an evening where every eye in the world was watching. And that's when the reactions really started rolling in. Fashion critics immediately praised her look. They described it as balanced, elegant, perfectly in tune with the moment. And then there were the fans. On social media, people couldn't stop posting about it. Tweets, Instagram posts, comments, you name it. Photos of Kate in that tiara and gown spread everywhere. Some fans even went as far as to say that she completely outshone Melania, Donald Trump, and maybe even every other person in the room, including the Queen herself. Now, think about that for a second. Outshining Melania, who's known for her bold fashion statements, and outshining the Queen, who is literally the center of attention at events like these? That's saying a lot. So let me ask you, if you were in Kate's shoes that night, what would you have done? Imagine knowing the entire world would be watching. Knowing that Melania was already going to bring her A-game in the style department. Would you have picked something bold, modern, and unexpected just to stand out even more? Or would you have gone with something timeless, something deeply meaningful, something that connects you to a bigger story than just one evening? Kate clearly chose timeless. And it worked. And here's something that most people don't even realize. Kate isn't just randomly picking dresses and tiaras out of a closet. It's not like she wakes up and thinks, this looks cute, I'll wear it tonight. No. Her choices are incredibly strategic. Experts actually have a name for it. They call it diplomatic dressing, or sometimes soft power fashion. What it means is that she uses her clothing to communicate without ever saying a single word. And it's brilliant. Think about how powerful that is. In a room full of speeches, statements, and formalities, Kate can send a message simply by choosing the right dress or the right piece of jewelry. That's the level of influence fashion can have when it's used with intention. And this look, this particular moment, is the perfect example. The white gown, let's start there. White has always been a symbolic royal color. It represents purity, tradition, continuity. It carries a sense of grace and formality. And it was absolutely perfect for an event that was all about diplomacy and tradition. It set the tone. It said, I'm here as a royal, representing continuity and calm. Then she pairs it with the lover's knot tiara. Suddenly, this isn't just about fashion. It's about a message. It's a nod to Diana's memory, a reminder of legacy, and at the same time, it's Kate showing that she fully understands the weight of her role in moments like this. It's subtle. It's quiet. But it's strong. And that's the thing. Sometimes the quietest statements end up being the loudest. Now here's a thought for you. At family gatherings, or even at work events, have you noticed that it's not always the loudest person in the room who gets remembered? It's not always the one talking the most, making the biggest jokes, or drawing the most attention. Sometimes it's the person who carries themselves with quiet confidence. Maybe it's the one who speaks less but says something so meaningful it sticks with you long after the night is over. That's exactly the vibe Kate brought into that room. Melania's look was bold, polished, and definitely eye-catching. And it worked, it made headlines. But Kate's look? It was meaningful. And when fashion carries meaning, when it tells a story, it tends to leave a deeper impression. It's not just about what people see in the moment. It's about what they remember later. And here's where it gets even more relatable for us. You don't have to be a princess with access to a royal vault full of tiaras to do the same thing. Fashion, even in everyday life, is a way of communicating. You might not realize it, but what you put on each day says something. It doesn't have to be about expensive brands or big designers. Sometimes it's as simple as choosing a piece that tells a story. Think about it. Maybe it's a necklace that was passed down from your grandmother, and every time you wear it, it feels like you're carrying a piece of her with you. Maybe it's a color that makes you feel powerful, like wearing red on a day you need that extra boost of confidence. Or maybe it's a pair of shoes you bought after a huge personal milestone, so now whenever you wear them, they remind you of how far you've come. Those little details. They're powerful. They can send messages without you ever having to say a single word. And that's what Kate does so brilliantly. She makes people feel like they're seeing more than just an outfit. They're seeing a story. So let's circle back to that night. June 2019. Donald Trump. Melania Trump. Buckingham Palace. The cameras flashing non-stop. Critics watching every move. Everyone waiting to see who would stand out. Melania brought Dior. Kate brought McQueen. But more importantly, Kate brought history. She brought Diana's memory into the room in a way that no one else could. And that's why people couldn't stop talking about her. It wasn't just about beauty. It wasn't just about fashion. It was about meaning. And that's why this moment is still being talked about years later. So now, here's where I want to bring you in. Do you think Kate Middleton intentionally upstaged Melania that night? Was it a carefully planned moment of quiet competition? Or do you think it was just her being herself, choosing something elegant, respectful, and timeless, without worrying about who else was in the room? Because honestly, people are still debating it. And that's what makes it fascinating. Some say it was intentional. Others say it was just Kate doing what she always does, choosing timeless pieces with meaning. Either way, the result was the same. People couldn't stop talking. And I'd really love to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is one of those topics where everyone seems to have a perspective. And if you enjoyed diving into this royal fashion moment, you'll probably enjoy another video I've got for you. It's all about Meghan Markle and some of her most talked about fashion statements, the ones that stirred up just as much conversation. You can find it linked right here on the screen. Before you go, don't forget, hit that like button if you enjoyed hanging out today. Subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell so you never miss a deep dive like this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.